This week felt really long.
Yeah?
Yeah, not just busy, long. You know when a week feels like it has been stretching for 10 days instead of 7? That kind of long.
I know exactly what you mean.
I think that's the best way I can describe it. A lot happened, but somehow I never fully caught up with any of it. I felt like I was always slightly behind my own day. Welcome back to English Daily with Emma and Jake.
Today, we're talking about something very real. A busy week.
Not just being busy for one afternoon.
But the kind of busy that slowly affects your energy, your mood, and even the way you move through your day.
In this video, we're going to talk naturally about feeling rushed, feeling drained, and trying to keep up.
So if you've had one of those heavy weeks recently,
This conversation will probably feel very familiar. I think the first sign for me is always the same.
what is it?
I stop feeling like I'm moving through the week, and I start feeling like the week is moving through me. Like I'm not fully in control of the pace anymore.
That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah, I'm still functioning, I'm still doing what I need to do, but I'm not moving in a calm way anymore, and I can feel that difference.
I think this topic fits really well after what we talked about recently.
Yeah, I think so too. Last time we were talking about one plan changing and then trying to save the rest of the day.
And now it feels like we're looking at the bigger picture behind that moment.
Exactly. Because that one changed plan didn't come out of nowhere. It came from a whole week where everything felt like it was stacking on top of everything else.
That's the part people don't always see.
Right. Sometimes a small moment only feels big because you were already carrying too much before it happened.
So what made this week feel so heavy for you?
Honestly, not one huge thing. That's the strange part. It was a lot of medium-sized things. Messages, deadlines, little changes, little delays, one more task, one more question, one more thing to respond to.
That kind of pressure adds up fast.
It really does. If it were just one big problem, I think I'd handle it differently. But when it's 100 small things, they start to blur together, and suddenly I feel tired in a way that's hard to explain.
I think that kind of tiredness is harder in some ways.
Really?
Yeah, because when something is obviously big, your brain treats it like a big thing. But when it's 10 small things, you keep telling yourself, it's fine, it's not that serious, and then suddenly you're carrying way more than you realized.
That's exactly what happened to me.
And I think that's why people get confused. They wonder why they feel this tired when nothing dramatic even happened. But a lot did happen. It just happened in smaller pieces.
And the strange part is that from the outside, I probably looked normal.
I get that.
I was answering messages, I was showing up, I was still getting things done, so technically everything looked okay. But inside, I felt like I was rushing all week.
That's the hard part about this kind of week.
Yeah, you don't fully fall apart. You just slowly lose your sense of ease. I wasn't breaking down. I just never really settled.
So if that's the pattern, maybe the first step is just noticing it earlier.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Noticing when the week stops feeling full in a good way and starts feeling crowded in a bad way.
That difference matters a lot.
It really does. Because being busy is not always a problem. Sometimes a full week feels exciting, productive, alive.
Exactly. But this week didn't feel alive. It felt tight.
And that's the signal.
So, where do we start when we talk about a busy week?
I think we start with energy, not time.
That's interesting.
Because two people can have the same number of tasks and feel completely different. Time matters, sure, but energy tells the real story.
That makes sense. There were moments this week where I technically had enough time, but I still felt overwhelmed because I didn't have the energy for one more thing.
Exactly. Sometimes I'm busy really means I don't have any space left.
Then, if we start with energy, I'd say this week felt uneven.
How so?
Some parts were fine. I'd feel clear for a few hours, maybe even productive. And then something small would happen and my whole mood would shift. not because it was huge, but because I had no extra margin left.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
That's the word I keep coming back to, margin. I think I had almost none this week, so every little thing landed harder than it normally would.
So, if you look back now, when did you first start feeling that?
Probably earlier than I admitted to myself. Maybe midweek, maybe even before that.
That sounds honest.
Yeah. I think I kept hoping the feeling would pass on its own. Like, once I finish this one thing, I'll feel normal again. But then there was always another thing behind it.
And that's how a whole week disappears.
Exactly. Not in one dramatic moment, just in small pressure, over and over again.
So maybe the real question is not just, was the week busy? Maybe the real question is, what kind of busy was it?
I like that.
Because some busy weeks feel meaningful. You do a lot, but it still feels worth it.
And some busy weeks feel noisy. You do a lot, but nothing feels settled.
Exactly.
This one felt noisy. Even when I finished things, I didn't really feel finished. My mind kept jumping ahead before the current moment had even landed.
Honestly, just saying all of that out loud makes the week feel clearer.
Yeah. Sometimes naming the pattern helps a lot.
It does. Because when I don't name it, everything just turns into one heavy feeling. But when I break it down, I can actually see it. It wasn't just a bad week. It was a crowded week, an uneven week, a low margin week.
That's much more useful than just calling it bad.
Exactly. It gives me something real to understand. You know what I'm starting to realize? I think I've been measuring my week by output too much.
What do you mean?
I keep asking, did I finish enough? Or did I get everything done? But I don't ask, how did this week actually feel? And I think that second question matters more than I used to think.
That's a big realization.
Yeah, because a week can look productive on paper and still feel heavy in your body.
I think a lot of people ignore that part for too long.
Probably.
Because if you completed your tasks, it's easy to tell yourself everything is fine. But finishing things is not the only measure that matters. Rhythm matters. Energy matters. Recovery matters.
Yes.
If you keep finishing things in a rushed, drained state, eventually the week starts owning you instead of the other way around.
That's exactly the feeling I'm trying to avoid. Okay, then maybe the simplest truth is this. I didn't just have a busy week. I had a week with too little space.
That sounds very accurate.
Too little space to think. Too little space to pause. Too little space between one thing and the next.
And when space disappears, even normal things start to feel heavy.
Exactly. That's why I don't want to describe this week in a dramatic way. I just want to describe it correctly.
And honestly, correct is more useful than dramatic.
So, if you had to say it in one simple sentence, what would you say?
I'd say this week was busy, but not in a healthy way.
That's strong.
Because that's really it. I wasn't only doing a lot. I was doing a lot without enough breathing room.
And that detail changes the whole meaning.
It really does. And I think that's why small things kept hitting me so hard.
Because there was no buffer left.
Exactly. If I had more mental space, maybe a delayed message or a changed plan wouldn't feel so heavy. But this week, everything landed on top of everything else.
Yeah. Once the buffer is gone, even small changes start to feel personal.
That's such a good way to say it.
And I think that's important to notice before it quietly becomes your normal.
I'm actually glad we're talking about this now.
Me too.
Because I think if I didn't stop and say it out loud, I would just carry this week into the next one. And that's what I don't want. I don't want one crowded week to quietly become a crowded month.
That's a very real fear.
I know nothing is magically fixed just because I said it, but I already feel less tangled than I did before.
And that matters more than people think.
So maybe that's the real lesson here.
What exactly?
A busy week is not just about how many things you did. It's about how much space you had while doing them.
That's really good.
Because if there's no space, even normal life starts to feel heavy.
Right. And once you understand that, you stop judging yourself so quickly. You stop asking, why am I tired? I should be able to handle this. and you start asking a kinder question. What has this week been asking from me?
Here are a few useful lines from today's conversation.
You can say, "This week has been a lot."
Or, I feel like I've been rushing all week.
Another useful one is, "I don't have much mental space right now."
And you can also say, I'm tired, but not in a normal way.
These are simple sentences, but they sound very natural in real life.
And they help you describe your week clearly, without sounding dramatic.
You know, if someone asked me now, "How is your week?" I don't think I'd just say, "Busy."
Yeah, that word feels too small now.
Exactly. I think I'd say, "It was a lot." Or maybe, "I got through it, but I didn't have much space."
That sounds much more honest.
It does. And I think that's what I want more lately. Not bigger language, just more honest language.
That's usually the language people connect with most anyway.
I think that's what made today's conversation useful. We weren't just describing a schedule. We were describing a feeling that a lot of people know, but don't always know how to say. And once you can say it clearly, it stops feeling so messy.
Right. It becomes something you can understand, not just something you carry.
That matters a lot. In English, and honestly, in life too.
Yeah, because sometimes the first step toward feeling better is simply being able to describe what has been heavy.
And that's exactly the kind of English I want us to keep building in this series. Great job today.
We talked about a busy week in simple, natural English.
If this conversation felt familiar, try using some of these lines the next time someone asks about your week.
And if you want to keep learning with us, please like this video and subscribe to the channel.
We'd love to see you in the next lesson.
See you soon.